Okay guys, it's Melissa here, and I've been working today on doing a lot of stuff to get my week ready, and not just my week, but my whole schedule ready for what's coming starting tomorrow, which is a full schedule again with school. So I'm working on that, and I decided I wanted to talk about this a little bit more. Okay, so as I've been asked to educate churches, whichever church I want to go to, educate them on pro-life stuff, and then thinking about how would I expand that. I just want to share some things with you ladies. So first of all, you need to have time to process stuff. So there's never been a time that I have not had as much work as being out here in Colorado. Okay, so I've got like time off. Okay, so with that in mind, I've had more time than ever in my life to process stuff about the abortion. I really have. So this is important, to have time to process trauma. There's really nothing else that's really going to help you as much as being around other women, hearing their story, and then having time to process your stuff and get the vocabulary under your belt of what happened. So as I was processing some more tonight, I think when I think about what happened, I think, first of all, I was mad at my boyfriend. So there was that layer of protection because I felt like he lied to me. He said the condom was safe and it broke. Whether he knew it or not, that is how I felt. So there was definitely a layer of protection going up. No question about it. And I was just like, bring me home. Is that a gray? It might be. I was just like, bring me home, right? Just bring me home. So that was one layer of protection. And then I just went on with my life. And then there was another layer of protection after my mother came in the bathroom and was just like, don't tell me you're pregnant. And so I had to protect myself there. Okay, because I should have had the people who said that they loved me should have been there supporting me, should have been reliable, should have been able to care for me. So then I had another betrayal with my father, shaming me, sending me to my room. Had to protect myself again. And I did have friends around me, which is good. But at that time, I wasn't really talking to anybody about anything. So it just happened really fast. And then his parents, I didn't even understand. His dad was a fire chief at the time. But his parents wanted the abortion and mine, and everything was set up. Then there was the betrayal at the doctor's, the betrayal of getting the silent treatment on the way home from my boyfriend's mother, and like I shared on my Resilient podcast there, that was it. And then going home and another betrayal, telling my brother to keep his mouth shut because his sister just had an abortion. When I shared this, I said it was just too much. And I remember going like numb after that, just numb. And so what happens is when you have too much to deal with, you are going to just go numb and shut down. And that's kind of what happened to me again. I didn't even have a nurse acknowledge or even respect I was pregnant. I had nobody willing to acknowledge or respect what the truth was. They would not accept my reality. So that was just, I think about when I went off, and I don't want to say I got wild, but I did skip school and I went hitchhiking, and I did whatever I wanted to do. And for a long time, I have been like, I felt like this guy, Mike, was my freedom from just the whole abortion thing. And looking back, I really do feel like he was. And so I did whatever I wanted as my parents tried to control me and go to the video store and drag me out of the video arcade with my friends and, get a beating from my father for telling my mother basically that I hated her because she kept playing games with me. And then, let me see, I got my hair pulled out, and then I was in gym the next day and a friend saw it, the whole back of my hair. And big chunk, like my father was a construction worker, so big chunk. So I think once I opened up to my husband, he was the first person I told. He was my friend then. And, I was just over at his house and I opened up about the abortion and he listened. And that is one reason why I had married him, because he always listened to me and he validated my experience. He's like, that's awful, Melissa. So he was the first one I told. And then I had a friend, Michelle. I would sleep over her house, and they were rich, and they had a great, big pool and everything. And I was sleeping over on the waterbed one night, and I mentioned it, and she's like, oh my goodness, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I be okay? Thinking it was never acknowledged before, so why does she care, So when you don't have the care and support around you, it's almost like it's not a reality. So then from there it was the pregnancy center. Once I was pregnant, I had blurted out the abortion, and so from there it was just, I didn't really talk about it. I was busy with my kids. I was busy, taking care of 5 of my sons and homeschooling and everything else, home births and Awana, youth group, all that stuff. So then later on, the first people I told, and this is kind of what ticks me off too, is this pregnancy center was connected to Trinity Baptist Church. And the director had said at that time, is this still bugging you? This happened years ago. And I remember being totally ticked off and said, I haven't really talked about it. And she later apologized for that. And then my class was cut short because all I said was, I think this curriculum is going a little too fast for me. So a decision was made within the context of me. This was my decision, right? How much I wanted to take a class. But that decision was made for me in the context of an abortion. So I was really ticked off, and I threatened to sue them because they had made some decisions that were my decisions. And they later apologized, and I said, Ann, you had someone come in the room when we already bonded, and this was none of her business. You had a leader come in, none of her business. You didn't ask me, you asked me if another person could come in and we could talk. That was fine, but you didn't ask me if another leader could come in. So they changed some policies because of what I went through, which I guess, great, God used me that way, right? And then I had gone to the second post-abortive class over here, which I really appreciated. I had woman mother me, so to say, through the abortion. But I will say, I had to stand up for myself again. And I had somebody in the leadership position say to me, oh, it couldn't have been a forced abortion unless you were sex trafficked. And I'm like, you didn't know my mother, did you? And I came right out with it. And she went over a boundary with me that was not acceptable. It was not acceptable at all. And so since then, I have talked to them. They're a main group here in Colorado Springs, and they are a pregnancy center. And I'm like, who are you to tell me that? Were you there? Were you me? And since then, they have been dealing with forced abortions. So I did have the director, apologize basically and say, well, we weren't talking specifically about your situation with post-abortive healing. So, I had to teach them what abortion looks like for many girls. So as I think about, do I want to continue teaching people, there are a lot of wounds, and there are a lot of people who think they have a right to judge where your healing process should be. And they have no right to do that. And even up until today, as memories have come back more, like I was walking the other day, and I remember snowshoes with my dad. I had completely forgotten that. I remember walking with him with the snowshoes on. So more memories are coming back because I've healed more from that trauma. So no one has the right to tell you where you should be in your healing. And you definitely want to set those boundaries, ladies. And not only that, but then I had a woman from that pregnancy center when our house was being sold. I won't say her name right now, but I told her she had encouraged that house to be sold, because she's a realtor. And I'm like, look, we don't even have a place to go right now and stuff. And, and she was from that pregnancy center. And I'm like, I laid into her, and I'm like, here you are, you talk about helping a woman, and you are quick to make a buck and sell our home out from under us. So I was not impressed. And she's like, you better take my name down from that stuff or I'll sue you. And the truth is, I mean, she's the one who, you know, wanted to sell out from under us when, very much when, you know, we had a family. And I said, what the heck? You're working at a pregnancy center. What are you doing? So she had to keep things separate, but she also had said some things to me that were not okay. So, ladies, what I'm saying is you need to protect yourself. And I hate to say this, there's a lot of great pregnancy centers out there, but you also need to protect yourself from people in the pregnancy center movement and healing process, the post-abortive care, who really don't know what they're talking about. Because there are some who are just like, they will use their narrative, their narrow narrative of what they think healing looks like. I mean, I even talked to a pregnancy center the other day that's like, oh yeah, we had an elderly woman who was an instrument with the Holy Spirit, with God, and she helped a woman heal. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. It does not happen that fast. It takes years, guys, to get through so many layers of hurt and protectiveness. So if we want real healing for women, guys, it's going to be a long process. It is not going to be an overnight thing. So that's what I wanted to share tonight, and thanks for joining me, guys.